So boilers, eh?
That. I mean, we usually just say the preamble topic. You
But,
don't have
like-
to segue into it. Like,
Was that not completely natural? No.
it was about as natural as a porn star's tits. Like,
Boy, I hate boilers.
no,
Whoa,
it's boilers.
Yeah, boilers are great.
Say I hear you've had some boiler trouble.
Oh, thanks for asking, Nick. Also, fuck you, Nick. But yeah, no, essentially what happened was we had to get a boiler replacement, as you do. So a guy came yesterday.
I know that feeling. I do adult things as well, like look at boilers.
But yeah, what happened was
Like, drive a car and drink alcohol. All the adult things.
Can I continue? Can I continue?
Yeah,
So, yeah, you got it.
Alright, so he comes in yesterday and removes the old boiler and leaves us without a boiler for the evening. And you know what? It gets pretty chilly. It's getting pretty cold over here. And then he comes today, and Alex and Nick can testify to this. He was a bit loud.
Yeah.
Because literally, I have not heard a man swear so much, just generally. He was just saying, like, obviously, you know, there's usually, like, you know, fuck and whatever, right? But then he was making, like, really, like, dodgy noises coming from the other room.
Oh, was this man fucking your boiler?
I was about to ask the exact same thing. Was he, like, having sex with your boiler and getting really into the dirty talk or something?
Look, I didn't want to prive, right? So
It was the fact you started that saying he came yesterday. I was like, was this man there all night fitting this boiler? It's like no wonder he was annoyed.
yeah, but that's anyway. Like so he was here from today at about, let's say, midday, like 12-ish noon. He didn't leave until 5 or 6.
That is stamina.
Right.
Like, if I could go that long, I would be a happy person.
Let me tell you, he wasn't so happy. Right?
Didn't get the finish.
Well, that was the thing, right? Is that he actually he almost gave up and said, "Oh, I'm gonna come back not tomorrow, but like later on in the week," and he was gonna leave us without a boiler for like another few days.
No, fuck that. It's cool.
So, because what happened was, he sort of like put everything on, but he couldn't get power to the boiler because he had like, you know, like the volt check thing, and everything was giving a reading, but whenever he hooked it up, nothing turned on. And I think it turned out like the actual like socket in the socket bit, like a part of it was not like loose or like wasn't working quite properly, so he had like shoved the wire further in or something. I don't know. And then he got it to work, and I was just thinking to myself, like, damn right, you're not leaving without giving me fucking heating for another day.
I was really thinking, wonder how long this will last till it breaks down. Because this guy is clearly not very good at his
How much
job.
damage has this man done trying to install this boiler?
Like, to be fair, it is actually like genuinely so much nicer in here now. Like, now I remember what radiators are like whenever they actually work. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. But yeah, so crisis averted. Actually, no. Sorry. There's another part to this. So apparently our thermostat is not compatible with this new boiler.
What?
So we cannot control the heating via.
So I was sitting there sweltering in nothing but his boxers right now.
Yeah, so you have to actually turn like
The boiler off?
yeah, like
Yeah.
the water temperature
No,
up and down.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. The thermostat is like how you would control it. So like, oh, it only turns on at a certain temperature if outside or something like that. So you actually have to physically go to the boiler to do it instead of using the thermostat. Yeah.
But then whenever he said to me like, oh, you know, I'm gonna have to come back here and change that thing, I was like, oh, hopefully they do not send him back again. I bet all my neighbors are like, what the hell is happening? What kind of domestic abuse is happening in that flat? Like,
Was he from a company or was he just like some guy?
He's from a company. He's actually from
Jesus.
an actual company.
That's the worry.
I think he had a few screws loose. And he was like talking about how he's talking about like his kids at one point and how
Are they boilers?
what to just straight up boilers.
Yeah.
Does he just live in a house surrounded by boilers?
But it was he was telling me like I think they were like they're like teens, and he was just talking about how they're like, you know, doing drugs and shit. And I'm just thinking to myself, and I just want to say, well, with a guy like you, like, I'm not fucking surprised, but you know, I wanted heating tonight, so I thought it'd be nice. I thought
you didn't insult
yeah,
them.
he had a saw with him, like.
Why does he need a saw to install a boiler?
It's like trim down some stuff. Like,
He was used it as a hammer. He's not very good at his job. Did the hammer he used squeak whenever he hit a nail?
Yeah, but I think like for as much as I hated it today, like on my day off, I think it was a lot worse for Amy because she had to be here yesterday while she was supposed to be doing work. And she told me whenever I came back about his habits, let's say. And I had no idea how much worse they were than what she pointed out. That being said, though, I think installing it was probably much worse than like taking it off.
Yeah, I was gonna say taking a boiler out doesn't seem well. I mean, imagine he probably had a harder time installing it than taking one out.
Oh yeah, there was a lot. I had my mic muted for a lot of the afternoon. But that's my boiler story.
Boilers, eh?
Just got that.
What?
Speaking of things you hate, so
Jews, am I right?
Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Not Super Bash Bros presents Game Club for November 2019. Yes! Game Club is back.
Ow, my ears.
what the hell is that?
I'm gradually ramping it up. I got very excited last time, and now I'm just going to get more and more excited every time I have to do it.
This is an ever-ending quest to deafen us.
Yeah. Yes! Game Club, the monthly video podcast review thing where we take turns picking games, go play them for the month, and come back and discuss them for your listening pleasure. This month, Alex picked Void Bastards by Blue Manchu Games, the first-person shooter roguelike. And as ever, I am your hoist. Hoist?
Have you actually gone through this entire thing once without fucking up? Ever?
Not in a while, I'm gonna say. I am your host, the Void Bastard, Nick Davis. Joined by Abyss Wanker, Hans Davis. Black Hole Cunt, Alex Brown.
Hello.
And Collapsing Star Dickhead, IY John.
Hello to you too.
I think that's my best intro for a while.
I just wasn't expecting to just go full cunt there. I was like, whoa.
How is everyone?
No,
Good.
Yes, Void Bastards, originally released in May 2019 on PC and Xbox. Alex,
hello. That's my
why
name.
did you choose Void Bastards?
'Cause I could.
That's... goddamn.
That's a good reason to do anything.
What? Yeah.
No, it's not a good reason to do murder. Let's not open that.
Or fuck a boiler. It's...
Or fuck a boiler.
Or
Only
become
if the boiler
vegetarian.
consents can you fuck it.
'Cause it looked interesting.
Fair enough.
And I could.
So, as ever, I have broken this down into 3 categories.
Nick, what are the categories?
Gameplay.
Tell me more.
Oh, God. You've just destroyed ASMR for me.
art style.
You can't do it. He's laughing too much.
I'm waiting.
I'm not. I'm creeped out. Right.
And does the Stanley Parable narrator have the best voice in video games?
Is that seriously your third category?
Alex need to say something.
So
Why?
I don't know. It's so weird to me.
Yes, he does.
Oh,
God damn it.
I wish I wasn't wearing headphones.
So before we kick into it, let's talk about how far everyone got in Void Bastards. I think I played about 5 to 6 hours, maybe more. The Game Pass app doesn't have a time counter, unfortunately, so I don't know. Hans.
2.
Alex.
I finished it.
What is the end, just out of interest? I'm sure we'll get into it.
You get back to the prison colony that you're heading to.
Oh, okay. And I.
I want to say at least 3/4, because from what Alex told me, you know how it's like separate into like depths.
Yeah.
I think I got to like the 5th, which I think is near the end. But
Yeah.
when I say got to the 5th, I mean I went into a wormhole which teleported me to the 5th into a mine that instantly killed me.
That happened. Well, I didn't get killed instantly, but I also got teleported into like 2 depths deeper than I ever should have been.
Yeah, I know. It did 2 times my max health.
Nice. So yes, gameplay. Void Bastards is a first-person shooter, as I said, with a bit of a roguelike structure. Essentially, you have these resources, similar to, let's say, an FTL, probably the best example, where you can jump from star to star, or point node to node is probably the best way of saying it, where there's either a ship, there's resources, things like that, and you board the ship. You're generally looking for some form of item, but while you're going through the ship, because you're close proximity to a collapsing nebula, everyone's become kind of freaky and supernatural. So you just kind of go in, blaze your way through the ship with your guns, and collect the items you need to, and try to get out alive. And every time your character dies, they are reincarnated. Well, a new prisoner is chosen. They are rehydrated, which I think is a really good conceit. And they just carry on your journey from where you were. And overall, yeah, I think the gameplay is kind of simple from what I played of it. It never really shook up how it was yet. I admit I was obviously still probably pretty early in the whole thing, but the gunplay I think felt nice. It was pretty cool. The enemies
Gunplay sucks.
Yeah, I'm going to say
What?
the shooting was probably the weakest part of the game.
It wasn't necessarily even just the shooting, but the combat overall. Just the enemies didn't really.
It's
do
very,
much.
very samey. Like
Yeah, this guy chased you a wee bit.
Well, the problem is that like the thing is in a shooting game is that the guns have to feel good, but whenever the enemies don't react to your shots, it feels like an MMO in that regard, where you're just kind of
Does
throwing
not
numbers.
pass the shot. Yeah, it does not pass the shotgun test.
So fuck you, Nick, is what we're all saying.
I didn't really like. It reminded me of like original like Doom, like the OG Doom on PC, where like
see, I think the enemies not reacted to like getting shot.
not really, like they didn't really react. Like, and in fact, this one has more of a reaction because at least you get like damage numbers and stuff. And they were like in the original Doom, it was very much they just kind of moved towards you. There's no like recoil or anything. And this kind of reminded me of that because, like, your gun is very static. There's not really any recoil. It is very much like that kind of sliding glide movement type stuff.
But we're kind of past that. Again, it's maybe a style choice thing, but, like, even a basic shooter would have more than kind of what this has in terms of just that aesthetic.
And that's also the other problem is that because there is no recoil, there is like literally no feeling to any of it.
Yeah.
Which is a bit, it's a bit lifeless in that regard.
I feel like, for me anyway, the thing that stops it being like, or probably feeling a lot more like the original Doom is it feels a lot more slower paced than something like that. Like, you're never like, the original Doom you were like facing like hordes of enemies quite a lot. This you're never really, when I played, you never really saw more than like 2 or 3 enemies on the screen at a time.
Oh,
let me
yeah,
tell
he
you,
gets swarmed later.
yeah, it gets very swarmy.
But to me,
Whenever
then that
you
seems
get-
that seems okay, because that was one of my main issues. Was it just felt like every time I encountered an enemy, because it was just a case of there's like two of them here, I just shot them, side set to dodge the whatever projectile they fired at me, and then shot them again. Like, there was no real... And every enemy kind of was like that, bar the ones you shot, they exploded. So, I think, like, that was my issue with it. But I don't think... I wouldn't say it was bad by any stretch of the imagination.
I actually thought... So I would say it's the opposite, where I actually thought the enemies were actually kind of okay. But the shooting... Your interaction with them is just bad. Because essentially, later on, like in a lot of games, there's, like, you know, the different color variants. But thankfully, instead of just more health and damage, like, for instance, there's the one... I don't know the name of it. But, you know, like the big floating head dudes who just kind of, like, spit out, like, the sticky bomb things.
Yeah.
So...
shit, what are they called? Superintendent? Something like that? Something weird like that?
But the later ones, whenever it explodes, it makes your screen go psychedelic. It's, like, really, really, like, trippy. So it is, which is, like, really cool. But, you know, I thought enemies were actually quite interesting. Like, overall. It's just... Yeah. I just didn't like fighting them.
Yeah, like the progression of enemies was pretty nice as well. They just ramped up the difficulty at a nice pace.
So, roguelikes are obviously quite popular these days. Well, not these days. Actually, I feel like they've kind of died off a bit. But there was a big boom of them for a while there, and they're still a fairly popular franchise. But I'm struggling to think of, like, other first-person, like, roguelikes, like shooters.
Wasn't there, like,
there
a
was
tower
one.
one?
Yes, and what the fuck was that called? It's like was it Tower of Guns or something really silly like that? No,
I think you're right. Actually, that's not the game I was thinking of.
That is a game. I just don't know if it's like a first-person shooter roguelike.
I think it is.
I think it is, because it's very Tron-esque, and it's very neon colors and stuff like that. Almost some of it, like the aesthetic of it.
Because this was what was kind of going through my head when I was sitting playing it. Was like, obviously, like, a lot of roguelikes are kind of first person. The main ones I have played anyway have been like kind of top down shooters, stuff like Nuclear Throne and Enter the Gungeon. And then you have stuff like where it's Dead Cells, where it's a side scroll thing. But like, I just struggled to really think of anything that was really like this first person shooter that was kind of encapsulated this roguelike stuff.
Hans is correct. It's in fact called Tower of Guns. Is a roguelike single player first person shooter. I never played that.
I did think that was neat, that like this felt like, for me anyway, like a new take on the roguelike formula.
I think that's the first time this has ever been said that Hans was right on this show.
No, that's not true. We flagged off Alex's bad taste in games.
That's like, I kind of want to cry a little bit about it. I feel so affirmed.
So in terms of the kind of roguelike aspects of it, what did you guys think?
It's very forgiving for a roguelike, I think, which for someone like me who doesn't like roguelikes, I quite enjoyed. So yeah, that's that. I think it's quite it's like rogue. It's like roguelite.
Like, I would definitely agree with that. But I feel like it got to the point where I felt like I kind of wish this was just like a campaign thing where I got to see all this art and stuff, rather than, because I didn't. That was one thing I would say about this game, is that death did not feel very important, because you always had the option. Because you do not. The thing I noticed later on is, like, you do not have to visit every ship, like, and it is a lot better for you, for your hit points and stuff, to just skip past ships. So you can be in a situation where you have, like, say 10 fuel or whatever, and you could just skip to the objective, essentially. And so you dying does not mean anything, because going to ships doesn't actually benefit you that much. Whenever you have, like, say, like, you know, the base gear that you need. I feel like after you get, like, the first upgrade,
later on, like, when you've actually started, like, getting, like, the bio and the plant stuff, where you can craft a lot of the items you need, rather than... I know early on, you are, like, I was going to every ship because they were giving me items, and every item was pretty much an upgrade.
Yep.
But later on, I imagine where every item is not an upgrade, you are probably being a lot more selective about the ships you actually visit.
I think the big thing about dying later on is like you do lose the stockpile of food and fuel.
Yeah, but like you only need like one good run, like on one ship, and then you're sorted. Or you can, if you're really lucky, like there are like fuel and food nodes on the map, which can be quite handy.
Yeah.
You can also call for deliveries on certain ships as well.
Yeah.
So as you get later on in the game, do you always start at like the lowest depth, or what the highest depths are technically, and have to work your way back down, or do you eventually get like shortcuts?
You start at the latest one.
You start.
Okay.
So once you reach the end of a depth, you basically that's where you start again.
Yeah, your ship moves down to that level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why it feels like the whole roguelike thing doesn't really mean much.
It almost feels like, it almost does feel like more just padding than anything. Like, it doesn't seem like the roguelike, the punishment for dying compared to some other roguelike seems that light that, like, it does just feel like we needed some way to make this feel like more than like a 2-hour game of just going from like
fair,
set
actually,
ships.
to me, Dark Souls is more punishing, and it's not really a roguelike either.
Yeah.
This is like first like because like even then you're losing experience points or something, you know. This is really kind of, is it like, what is it, a change of game portrait and traits and stuff?
Yeah. Is your first guy the same every time?
I think
the cough?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like it tries its best to get you killed. But
On in the first level, yeah.
Yeah.
but I think one thing I would say, I think this is just an issue with space games, is that especially in the procedurally generated one, like let's be honest here, like ships are not very interesting on the interior because it's just corridors and bulkheads. Like it's not. I think the different types of ships with their little themes, like the cat ship, and like your big fuel
the luxury
ones,
like ships.
Yeah, I think that stuff is cool, but all
the casino one.
Yeah, but all the stuff in between is just corridors, and that's not very interesting. But like the art style is really good, but it's just I just fear the setting is holding it back in a lot of ways.
I feel like this segs on to the next section quite well. So, is there any last points someone wants to bring up around the gameplay?
Colorblind was a thing in it. And it was hellish as a colorblind person, let me tell you.
Did that not just like fix the game for you? No,
No,
like,
it was
does
like
two
grayscale.
colorblind's not make it right?
No, it was like proper grayscale. It was like the proper hardcore colorblind.
Oh, okay. So where does it just make? Is it? There's something else that there's a colorblind.
Like if dogs want to play the game, you know.
Yeah.
There's another game that does have like a colorblind like trait, and it literally makes the game black and white. It's
Rogue
Legacy.
Legacy.
Yes. Yeah, if you're colorblind, that it literally just makes the game black and white. So yes, the art style. Kind of as I always said there is not a lot of variety in some of the environments. However, I do think the art style in this game is really, really cool. I think it's unique in, like, I haven't really seen an art style do something like this and do it as well. And I would say this is probably the best part of the game for me anyway, is that this game does look visually very, very cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know, it reminded me of, do you remember that like comic book game 13, was it?
Yes.
Yep.
It reminded me of the art style of that a wee bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, if I had to compare it, like, it's stuff like 13 and stuff like the original, like, No More Heroes is kind of like that sort of
Cell shading.
Yeah, like, but it's not even like, it's like flat cell shading, where it's like, it is very harsh color changes rather than like these weird,
blended shadows and stuff,
But no, I think it's very cool. I think it fits very well with the very, like, angular look of a lot of these spaceships, or like, it does kind of feel like these very unnatural environments and these harsh edges and all. And I think that the art style really plays into it.
Goes well with the soundtrack as well.
Oh, one thing I really hated was, I know it's to help you, but anytime you were spotted by an enemy, the noise, like the siren kind of noise it makes, I got really irritating. Because anytime, like, say, like a turret spots you, it like the music changes, but it's just so loud and like just kind of obnoxious, in my opinion. I think that it is on purpose, but I think it's just quite annoying. That's just a side thing.
Maybe don't get spotted by a turret then, I scrub.
Damn, son. The other side of this, I think, is kind of out of the gameplay sections of it. I think the like comic book style they go for in like the menus and the cutscenes is also really, really well done. And I think it's not something that is like unique by any stretch of imagination. There's other games that have done this and done it very well. But I think it's a nice thing, and I think it does blend well with the art style of the actual gameplay sections, because that is kind of comic-esque.
Yeah.
Also, I like it's weird at first, I think, when you first see it, but I think it makes sense when you're actually playing it, is like the contrast between the like I keep saying like the contrast between like the enemies and the environment, where like the enemies are these hand-drawn enemies and they're really nice, really kind of high fidelity drawings, and then like these flat backgrounds. I think it's a nice contrast, and it actually helps the enemies stick out a lot more, especially when they're usually these neon blue colors.
The art style of the enemies reminded me a little bit of Darkest Dungeon, a wee bit.
I
don't know why. It just came to my head. But then, like, which was weird when you compare it to, like, then the background being cel-shaded harsh lines and stuff.
But I feel like it does work, like, when you do have these, like, kind of different art styles. Like, it makes the enemies stand out, which is kind of what you want when you're playing this shooter, and you want to be able to pick out the enemies, so you're not... especially when death does have a meaning, it means you're not feeling like, oh, I didn't see that guy, I've got fucked over here.
Yeah. To say, it's kind of important for a roguelike that they don't do cheap deaths, isn't it? Otherwise...
Yeah.
Because you just get frustrated and be like, nah, fuck this game. In a game where you're going to die a lot, you kind of want to make it sure it feels like the player's fault and not the game being cheap.
I think one thing I would say about roguelikes, at least the thing that, like, because I'm probably the biggest roguelike fan here, the ones that are my favorite are the ones where you have a story you can tell someone as a player. So really simple examples of this are like situations on, like, say, like FTL, right? Where you might have an encounter where like half your ship is on fire and you've had to like divert power to this, and then someone sacrifices life to like put out one fire and to like save everyone. And like, you know, those are things that don't always happen, but those are what makes those kind of games great. Things also in like slightly off example, but stuff like, say, XCOM, right? And someone misses a shot, but then you have to do this other thing, and like, you know, there is a story to tell. But in a game like this, the only story I was able to sort of tell Alex whenever I was playing this was, I think there was one time where, so later on in the game you fight pirates, and they follow you onto other ships. And what I didn't know is that pirates move in packs. So I saw an enemy pirate who was stun locked on like a piece of electricity on like a puddle on the ground. And so I was like, guess, you know, I can't go this way because, you know, there's electricity on the ground. So let me jump over this balustrade. I leapt over. All his other buddies were standing right behind him. And they just murdered me. Right? So that was like one instance of something that happened, but overall the game is very one-dimensional, which I feel makes it like kind of pointless as a roguelike, because it doesn't have those moments.
I get you said, like, I agree, like, I feel like that's why FTL is kind of like in this like upper echelon of roguelikes and is generally seen as one of the best ones that's been done. But I also kind of think that, like, there's games like Dead Cells, I think, is also one where, like, you don't really get those moments in Dead Cells, but it's also seen as, like, a very, very good roguelike.
But I think in Dead Cells, like, you can feel really badass. But yeah. But I think in this game, it's kind of like, you know, I think maybe, you know, like, you do, like, I think a lot of the weapons are quite interesting. Like the cat can distract enemies, which is kind of cool.
I really like the design of that cat, by the way. It's really cute.
Did you use the upgraded one?
Yeah, the upgraded
No,
one
I never
is... It looks very angry. It's a very angry cat.
And when it explodes, it throws out, like,
It's like cluster.
frags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do get what you're saying. Like, for as much as this is, like, procedurally generated, it all feels very by the numbers. Like, there's no kind of, like, leeway in the gameplay and things like that to have these creative moments.
Like I feel like whenever Amy was sort of asked me, because Amy actually quite liked watching this game, but there was one moment where she was like, "Have you not been on this ship before?" Because obviously, it all looks the same. So it's just like, no, but I see your point though.
God, just you mentioned it there. F-Tail's a real fucking good game.
Yeah, it is.
I like the one they made afterwards. It's a lot more fair. Even though it's not as Into the Breach.
Into the Breach?
Yeah. And you like
It's
kaijus.
the mech one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Pacific Rim one.
Yeah. That was one of your Game of the Years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Last year's?
Yeah, it was really good. I played a lot of it whenever it came out.
F-Tail should come out in the Switch.
That would be a good combination, actually, yeah.
I don't know how you'd like...
It's got a touchscreen.
Well, yeah, I guess obviously because you can pause the game as well. Like, there's no urgency if you don't want there to be.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Anyway, enough about other roguelikes.
Enough about good roguelikes. Any final bits on the art style?
Nah.
Apart from the fact, I'll lump it in here because it does feel like it just fits under general style. Is what did you think of, like, the humor of the game and kind of the tone?
I
Loved it.
I thought it was brilliant.
I did enjoy, like, you're going through ships and, like, you shoot a juvenile and he doesn't die. He's like, oh, he calls you like a knob and stuff and just runs away. Or something like really like, what the fuck just happened about that?
I take it this is a British developer.
Yes,
like,
I would assume
okay,
so.
that's alright.
There's some very dry British humor in it. And I think I can appreciate it. It's kind of like, a 2 Point Hospital, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I do really like the tone of the game, and, like, it was unexpected when I, like, and we'll get into it obviously, but the narrator's very good, and the jokes, and, like, the very, like, as you said, the dryness of it, and how British it is overall, and his, like, this complete, like, disregard for all life that's happening here. He's like, oh yeah, next guy, here we go, fill out this paper form.
I think the ending to it is the perfect, like, just... It ties in really well with the humor.
What is the ending, Alex?
So, you know the way you're told at the start that all of your efforts will go towards reducing your sentence?
Yep.
What they don't tell you is all the felonies you're committing along the way is cancelling that out. So, at the end, you're, put back in your packet and sent into the colony, and they scan you, and it comes up crimes as, like, murder, and then, like, just, like, going on to all these, like, vessels unauthorized, leaving your containment, and it's just, like, a massive list of felonies that you've committed along the way to get to where you're supposed to be.
Are those based on your actual stats? Or is it just like a... just
I think it's just a generic...
That'd be real good if it was like...
Yeah, it would be really
murder,
good.
like, X the number of people you've killed.
Because that would be some, like... Was it MGS 3?
Yeah.
Shit? So it would...
And it's like total sentence, and it's like over 1,000 years. And it just shoots you out into space, and it zooms in. And all the prisoners are actually just forming a ring around the planet. And there be, like, powder packets. It's pretty good.
So, but, like, surely if you're powdered, you're not going to feel the thousands of years.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not saying I know what it's like to be turned into powder. That's impossible. But, like, I feel like if you're not conscious, it's not going to bother you.
It's heavily implied that you're not going to be rehydrated.
Oh, there we go.
So
Like, there's no water in space.
Well, you're shot into, like, a Ring of Saturn sized thing of prisoners. So I highly doubt they're going to pick people out from it.
Sequel, man.
No, man, another ship just gets stuck.
So, any final bits before we move on to our final section? No,
a solid game.
So, final section. I want to call notice to this because I do believe that the Stanley Parable narrator does have the best voice in video games.
Objection!
Oh god. Who is?
Narrator from Bastion.
So I've written here, Logan Cunningham, the narrator from Bastion, is a close second. Because he's also in all the Supergiant games and is incredible in all of them.
Also, the English guy who plays Wheatley from Portal, too.
Stephen Merchant.
He is also
actor.
very good. I couldn't remember his name,
Yeah.
I know, but he is like, because he's also...
Pretty sure that's the only game he's done, though.
He's friggin' in Assassin's Creed.
Oh shit, yeah.
And he did a similar one to Stanley Parable, Life of Stan.
What?
He did a similar thing to Stanley Parable one. It was like an English one where like he voices over as well. Can't remember what it is, but he's in that as well. He does quite a lot of video game stuff, to be honest.
I feel like I know him as, now you mentioned Assassin's Creed, but also... Yeah. But no,
I would
don't
say
know.
they're top 3.
I feel like that's cheating, though, because he is an actual actor.
What? But the bollocks. That is horseshit. Oh, you can't be you say Mark Hamill doesn't have a fantastic voice?
That's
Because he's an actual actor.
I feel like he's a better voice actor than he was an actor, though. Don't add me, Mark Hamill. No, I really like that because I think he has a real good delivery and like he gets booked in the perfect roles. Just so good.
But I think that's the big part of it, isn't it? Is like the context of his voice.
Stanley Parable, also a top-notch game. Kind of a roguelike.
I mean, yeah.
It keeps resetting you, so technically it's a roguelike.
That's true.
Stanley Parable, best roguelike. Put it on the box.
It has one of the best achievements, doesn't it?
That has an achievement where you don't play the game for 5 years, yes. So, we good to wrap now that I've got that out there?
Sure.
And any final pieces? So, I really like Void Bastards. My issue is I feel like it is, in terms of a first-person shooter, it's not amazing. And in terms of being a roguelike, it's not amazing. So when you put two not amazing bits together, and it's not the best of both worlds, or either world is the problem. There's better shooters out there if you want to play this style of shooter. I think there's better roguelikes if that's what you're looking for. Yes, it fills in a small niche, but that niche could be much better performed by a different game in the future. So while I think right now Void Bastards is probably the best in its genre, so to speak, I don't think it'll be there much longer. Hans.
I think it's alright game. I enjoyed it for the short time I did play of it. Even though I'm not a massive fan of roguelikes, but then I also think that means that maybe people who do like roguelikes will be put off of it because it's maybe not tough enough for them. But overall I think it's perfectly serviceable. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it is outstanding.
Alex.
I enjoyed it, but there are a lot of problems with it. And since it is on Game Pass, isn't it?
Yep. That's where I played it.
If you're interested, do try it on that. Because, it's free, basically. So, yeah. Solid game.
Oh,
I think you should get this game if you need, like... If you want a shooter that's, like, a bit bite-sized. Because it's very easy just to, like, jump into a ship. And then do that, and that's it. So, I think if you don't want anything big, then really just give this a try. Like, it's perfectly okay.
Perfectly okay. Stick it on the box. So some average reviews for Void Bastards. However,
Well done, Alex. You didn't pick a shit game.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a bad
job.
game, but it definitely wasn't bad.
no, just decidedly average.
Yep.
So, before we wrap up for today, there's one piece of business we need to attend to. And Hans, we have our month break while we do Game of the Year stuff. So, tell us what game we'll be playing and discussing at the end of January.
Gentlemen, it is the season. So I have picked a Christmas game.
That we won't discuss at Christmas.
Yeah, but still. Fuck you, Nick.
A Christmas game?
A Christmas game. Well, it is a game set at
I have
Christmas.
a bad hunch about what this is going to be, and I really hope I'm wrong.
Okay. Do you want to guess?
No, just tell me.
Okay.
Is one of the
Gentlemen,
Arkham games set during near Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it in one. It is Arkham Origins.
Okay, thank God.
Oh my, Hans, are you kidding me?
Yeah, Alex, have you not just been playing through all the Arkham games?
Yeah, I like 2 months ago, I just finished that game.
Well, then you
You
don't
can
have to play
finish it again.
It's
no.
clearly fresh in your memory, so...
Yeah, my worry was you were going to pick Hatful Boyfriend Holiday Spirit. Which is the Christmas-themed Hatful Boyfriend add-on.
No, because I feel like we have to play Hatful Boyfriend first before we do that. Yes, set on Christmas Eve is this, so Batman Arkham Origins. Which is considered the worst of the
You know what the
Arkham
funny
games
thing
apparently.
is? Arkham Origins is totally my favourite one.
Yeah,
You know
I
what?
actually
I
really
enjoyed it.
Is that the third one?
Spoiler, by the way, for
Arkham
January.
Origins was the one that wasn't made by the usual studio.
Rocksteady.
Yeah, so it wasn't
was
made by Rocksteady.
Made by
Warner
Bros.
Brothers.
Montreal.
Part of me wants to say it was possibly the studio that went on to do Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor. Maybe I'm wrong.
Pardon me. No, they did. The only thing they've done is they've done fuck all.
Oh no, this is the studio that everyone keeps saying is going to make a Court of Owls game.
Yeah. But yes, Batman Arkham Origins. Alex has apparently got a free month, so there you go.
Free 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months. Well, like, let's be honest though. It was going to be Christmas themed. I always do something that's relevant, so.
I mean, I'm sure there are other games set around Christmas.
Die Hard.
None other good. Believe me, I'm telling you, Christmas games are very hard to come by.
Alright. Before we wrap up here, I'm going to Google Christmas video games.
Okay, while he's doing that, right?
And yes, let's see if there's any quality
Not
ones, shall
Christ
we?
Man. Christmas.
Christ, man.
While he's doing that, let me say this, right? So, Die Hard was one of the first games I had on the PlayStation 1.
Yep, same here.
Along with Croc, I think is what it was called.
Yep.
I think those were like my
100%.
first games.
Alright.
We had that and Worms.
Oh.
So we did.
We have 19 games that are under the Wikipedia category Christmas video games.
Exactly, 19 games.
And
Nick. It's
Hans.
not a
Is
lot.
Arkham there?
Arkham,
So, right. The third birthday. Never heard of it. Batman Returns. The beat 'em up based on the Batman Returns movie. Batman Arkham Origins is there. We have Christmas Clicks. A Christmas themed puzzle game for the WiiWare. We have Days Before Christmas. Originally on the Mega Drive. We have, and I would say this is probably the better choice than Arkham Origins, Dead Rising 4.
oh yeah.
We have Death Smiles 2. Duke Nukem 3D. Elf Bowling.
I changed my mind, guys. I'm going to go with Elf Bowling for my choice for this month.
James Pond 2. Jetpack, the video game. Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake. Not Metal Gear Solid. Not Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, okay.
Nights into Dreams. Parasite Eve.
Oh, that would be, yeah.
Sky Roads. I don't know what that is. Snatcher. Kojima's original game.
Snatcher?
Yeah, that was the first game Kojima ever wrote. Trolls. Based on the Troll Dolls.
Does that have a Z?
No, it's with an S.
Ah.
Viscera Cleanup Detail. And We Wish You a Merry Christmas.
I actually did consider that one.
What, We Wish You a Merry Christmas?
No, the cleanup detail.
Oh, Viscera Cleanup Detail. So there we go, Hans. 19 Christmas games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
At
There's
least two.
thousands of games that are actually there. That's not exactly a lot.
Sorry, this isn't counting other games that are in other franchises like the Home Alone games or the How the Grinch Stole Christmas video games.
I stand by my choice. I would maybe pick Dead Rising 4, but you know I'm not a massive fan of the Dead Rising games because of the constant time limits that used to be in it.
There's no time limit stuff in 4. It's just a
stop in
straight up
4?
action game.
No.
That happened in like 3. They got rid of like the time limit stuff.
Well, there you go. Next Christmas, someone can pick Dead Rising 4. But for now, it is Batman.
So,
I thought he was going to say, but for now, it's a goodbye from me.
No, I accidentally pulled out my headphones there, so I didn't know what was going on.
Forcing Nick to end the episode.
So yes, join us at the end of January, where we will play Batman Arkham Origins. Some of us for the second time in the space of 4 months. For now, it is goodbye from Hans.
Have a good one.
A goodbye.
And a Merry Christmas.
A goodbye from Alex.
Bye and a happy Tuesday.
What? A goodbye from Iowa.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers.
And a goodbye from myself. I got nothing.